Hello, I'm Dr. Casey Grover. I'm one of the emergency physicians at Community Hospital of the Monterey Peninsula. I am also soon to be board certified in addiction medicine. I am also one of the lead physicians for the Monterey County Prescribe Safe Initiative.
And I'm Dr. Reb Close, also an emergency physician at Community Hospital of the Monterey Peninsula. I as well will be getting my addiction medicine board certification, and I am one of the lead clinical physicians for our Monterey County Prescribe Safe Initiative.
You might be asking why we're here today.
We are here today because America lost 93,000 people to overdose last year. That is 10 deaths per hour, and almost 70,000 of those were related to opioids.
Today we'll be discussing how to actually use naloxone to rescue someone from an opiate overdose. And we will be talking about the nasal spray called nasal Narcan. There are basically 5 steps to saving someone's life. You want to protect yourself. Make sure that it's safe where you're going to rescue a person. You want to call the paramedics, call 911 for help. You want to open up the package and get the nasal spray ready. You want to place the device into the victim's nose, and then you want to push the plunger. So those are 5 P's. Protect yourself, paramedics, open the package, put it in the nose, push the plunger.
All right, so now what we would like to do is to simulate a potential overdose situation so you can see how I would respond in this type of a scenario. So the first P was protect yourself, and as is evident with what we hear when we get on a plane, put on your own face mask first before you put on someone else's. So at least make sure the scene is safe. If you're in traffic and trying to respond to an overdose, that's a more dangerous situation for both of you. So there may be pills on scene, there may be sharps or needles on scene, capped or uncapped. Just please make sure that you are safe so you can actually attend to someone who's potentially overdosed. So as you're on scene, and truly even as you're approaching, activate 911. We need to have our paramedics and our first responders on scene as quickly as possible. They may need to bring more supplies and Narcan. You don't know what you're up against yet, and so you need that medical backup. So calling 911, that is our second P, and it may even be considered the first P, paramedics. Okay, so the next P is to open the package and prepare to give a dose. You've made sure things are safe, you've got 911 on their way, but our next part is to open up the package, and inside each package there are 2 doses of naloxone. You take out one of those doses, you open the blister pack, okay, and then you're ready to go. You put your finger on each side and your thumb on the plunger, and you're ready to administer your dose. So you've got your naloxone, you've got it in your hand, you've got your 2 fingers on the side of the tip, and your thumb is on the plunger in the bottom. You next place it in the person's nose, and you place it until your fingers are basically touching their nose. And that's the 4th P, is place it in the person's nose. The last step in this is to push the plunger, and that's it. So the way you know you've used a dose is that plunger has pushed up, it doesn't come back down. And when you administer the dose, don't go slowly, push the dose, it goes in all at one time. Then you want to make sure that your victim is still safe. Hopefully you'll see that they're going to start having an improvement in their mental status or in their breathing. But if not, you've got to be ready to go with the second dose that's in your package. Okay, that's why there are 2, is you will probably need both in our current situation with the drugs that are on our street right now. So when you do that, you open the next dose, okay? You take it out, prepare it the same way. What you want to think about is using it in the other nostril. And so you go in, you put it in until your fingers touch their nose, and push that second dose. And this dose, as you can see, has been used, and now you've administered both doses that were in your Narcan box, and 911 should be arriving about this time. So giving it to someone who's upright, say Casey is slumped over, right? If he's overdosed in a chair and he's slumped over, I put it in the nose, put it until my fingers are flush with his nose, and then administer the dose.
There are 2 other important things to remember when using a dose of the nasal naloxone, also known as nasal Narcan. The first is that it can be given when a person is upright or when a person is not breathing, as it's actually absorbed through the fleshy part of the nose, and it does not require the person to be breathing to be effective. The other thing is I got 3 doses of real medication in this video, and as you saw, it's not caused any problems. So if you are wrong and you give it to somebody who is not having an overdose, you will not cause them any harm. If you're wondering when you might need to give a dose of the nasal naloxone, it would be when you suspect a person has had an opiate overdose. What that can look like is that a person would be unresponsive, they might have shallow breathing, or not even be breathing at all. You'd want to give a dose of this medication, as Dr. Close demonstrated, if you suspect that a person could be having an overdose, such as a person who is unresponsive or poorly breathing. And as we saw from me receiving multiple doses, if you're wrong, giving a dose to someone will not cause any harm. As long as you call 911 and paramedics are on the way, they'll get the treatment that they need.
You may be concerned that when you're on the scene of an overdose, that if you call 911, you may get in trouble with local law enforcement. There is a law, a California law, called the Good Samaritan Law that protects people from legal consequences when they call 911 on behalf of someone who's overdosed.
There are many formulations of this medication we talked about today called Naloxone, and today we reviewed the specific one called nasal Narcan. Montage Health has a great website, montagehealth.org, and if you search on it, you can search for our county coalition called Prescribe Safe. It has lots of treatment resources as well as information on how to use the other forms of naloxone. We want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you in advance for saving a life.